Alrighty, folks. Hopefully everybody can hear me. Let me just make sure. Do. Share on Facebook. Hey, there we are. Alrighty, believe we are set up. Welcome, everybody. Sorry, I am a little all over the place today. Please let me know if you can hear me. I'm going to try to manage from my phone as much as I can. Please leave a comment in the chat. Let me know what questions you have on mixing. I'm going to be covering one of my open projects. This is a remix from... it's weird to hear myself in there. This is a Lost in a Memory remix. I was commissioned by Joe Satriani to work on an original of his for a remix compilation album, and it was a pretty fun, interesting track. A lot of guitar stuff. The guy's a very prominent guitarist, soloist, and they were looking for electronic remix, so I kind of just put together something in about 4 hours to send off to them as like a quick demo of what I could do. And I got paid for that little commission job. It was a nice little gig. And I've been, basically, I'm going to revisit this track and revamp it and try to make it out for a Pollux and Castor release, hopefully in the next month or so. That's the goal. But today I'm just going to be working on some mix updates, doing some changes to it. I might even jump into another project that I have open in the background and show you guys some mixing workflows. But if any of you guys have any questions on mixing, mix downs, different processes, definitely leave me comments and I will do my best to try to answer that in the stream. I'll walk you guys through my setup if you have questions or whatever you want to see. But for the next hour or so, just shout out to me and let me know what you want to see. I'll show you guys what I'm doing. In the meantime, let me just start the track for you guys can hear what I'm working on. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do, just going to go through and color code so I can see where everything is routing to nice and easily. Hopefully just make it a lot easier to see where I'm going on my signal flow and routing. Wow. So, let me dive in. Some things going on with the bass. I definitely notice the kick needs to come up a little bit more. However, during different parts of the song, I am layering two different kicks. So let's just get the balance of those a little better. What's There we go. Yeah. All right. Oh, that is the snare. I want the kick. Since those guys are muted, let's go ahead and hide those. Definitely helps if you hide tracks you no longer need. Can probably even archive them. Let's do that. So this is a cool technique. Just archive, disables all processing involved with it, which is very cool. And let's go ahead and hide those tracks. Let's see who's out there today. How many of you guys are ready for a haircut? I know I am. Ooh. Alright, so you notice the kicks have their own group. This is an auxiliary track, which is being routed to the drums bus, which has its own processing. Here's another cool trick. If I want more punch to get through the mix, let's go ahead and send straight to the master. And this will do a post fader send. Let's just see how that sounds. You know what I think it is? I think it's the fact that our sub is not getting ducked by the kick. So let's take care of that. Oh, that rigging. Let me put spam on here. So for those of you that don't know what spam plus is, ooh, hopefully you guys can see and hear everything. Everybody hear me okay? Hopefully. John was saying, trying to open it up, but I can't hear it, not see it, but now I can't even hear it. Try reconnecting, hopefully. So I see I've got a few of you guys out there. Send me a comment and let me know if you guys can hear and see everything okay. Otherwise, I might have to restart the stream. So if you guys can see, my DAW's open. I'm in Cakewalk. And I have Span Plus open, just setting up a preset. There we go. Oh yeah, that sub is loud. Question is, where's my sub? Ah. There it is. So what I might want to do is I'm routing it to the base. Let's just take a listen to the base bus. Yep. What I'm going to want to do is just go ahead and put a compressor. I actually do like the C1. C1's pretty good. But then I need to go to the kick. Instead of sending that to the master, we're going to send that to... Weird. I'm not seeing it anywhere. Should be on... Waves C1 for base. Delete that send. Maybe that'll help. Nope, not seeing it. Might be the... Try that guy. Yeah, hopefully everybody can hear me okay. There we are. I apologize if that sounds terrible right now. I just want to hear the effect of the release timing. That way I can get a good idea of what's happening there. Because unfortunately, tracks, if you unfortunately, that delay is just throwing me off. Yeah, if you solo certain tracks, there's something called solo safe, and the streams, because I'm doing a send out of the tracks, certain tracks, and that is going to a bus that I'm getting sidechain input on. It's unfortunately not receiving the sidechain input for that information, so... Oh, there we go. Awesome. You know, maybe it says the stream is working and sounds good. Awesome. All right, we're on our way. So again, if you guys have any mixing questions, feel free to drop them in the comments. Let's see. Sweet. Everybody's there. What's up, Thomas Murphy? All right. So I'm just trying to dial in some sidechain compression, really just to get a ducking effect. Now, granted, I could go in and do volume automation manually just to try to dial in that sound and be sample accurate. However, notice, at least with this particular DAW, sometimes automation lanes, as there's a lot of automation lanes in there, they have trouble rendering or playing back live. There could be a delay in certain things. And I want that sample accurate punch because I want that kick to just stand out. The other thing is I might need to do some sound design on the kick to make sure that mixing wise, the bottom end and that clicky sound, the top end of it, have a good balance in there. I'm still getting the thumpiness from the kick, and the sub is not interfering with it too much. So right now I'm just trying to dial in a good sidechain timing, and the release is what I care about the most because I want that volume ramp to come back up a certain way. And there's a little cool trick. I know my tempo of my track is at 135. So I'm using this Analog X delay time calculator, and based on musical data, the fact that I'm working at 135 beats per minute, this is my whole half, quarter note, eighth note, et cetera, so I can get down to sample accurate, at least within milliseconds, of what my release times should be. Now, typically the way that compressors and dynamics processors work, at least if they're based in the analog world, your attack time and release time aren't necessarily mean like the time that it takes to fully attack the signal. That's a rough guideline. Just think of the time that it takes to apply roughly 2/3 of the gain reduction if your attack. And the same thing will happen for the release, roughly 2/3 of coming back to nominal level for the original signal. So what I'm thinking of is I want that 16th note spread. Like I want that to take about a 16th note to release the signal for that ramp to come back up to full volume with that sub. And so I want to try to do this off of this milliseconds, 27.77 milliseconds. And this should be pretty sample accurate. Very cool. I apologize for the delay. That will go on for days if I let it. So you can tell there's a lot of stuff in here. I just have layers upon layers of shit. Excuse my language. And we've got this auxes and returns section, and I have an H verb, return, and I am controlling that with stutter edit. So you see these MIDI notes here are going to be what's controlling that. Ooh, love that delay. That, folks, is adaptive verb. And then I have a second one paralleling. And I'm just rolling off the highs, give a little bit more body to the delay. And there we go. So what's really left? What's really bothering me with the mix? I think a lot of it's just the way that compression's sitting together between certain things. Obviously, when you're trying to get loud, mastering is part of the sound design of the mix phase. However, you notice I don't really have anything on the master other than this right here. So I'm literally just going into the concrete limiter, doing about 4 dB of dynamic gain reduction. Could probably do some other things, but I feel like loudness isn't the issue. I think it's the balance of the mix. So I need to clear up some things. The loudest part of the song is the hooks. Let me play. Oh, that confirmed it. All of that 200 hertz buildup is all the guitar's fundamental. Doesn't really need to be there. So let's see what we can do to clean that up. I'm not really doing anything on these groups. I'm just grouping things. So this is another thing. If you guys have questions on mixing workflows, the biggest thing that I can tell you is to focus on how things are summed together. It's the relationship of those summing groups. So when I have these auxiliary tracks, I am summing all of my kick layers together. I am summing all of my snares together, my hats together, top perks. So I have a lot of different layers, things being triggered. But when it comes to summing things, I'm summing to these auxes, and then I can basically just bounce these auxes as their own tracks, and they're being routed to a final drums bus. However, the things that you might want more control over that I was mentioning earlier, if you want your transients to really punch through and not be affected by other things that are getting summed together with it. So what might happen if I were to sum my kick and my sub together is if they're intermodulating, I could end up with phase issues where they start ducking one another. And that's pretty easy to demonstrate if you just pull in a simple tone generator, throw in a fundamental tone for your sub and throw in a kick, and notice how they play together. Even if you just detune your bass by 1 cent, and if it's still at the same frequency, it might sound like it's wide, but then you also notice this amplitude modulation by as much as 6 dB. Well, that can be happening to your kicks too at the fundamental frequency if they're off just even a little bit. So phase relationships and their tonal value, meaning the what frequency they're resonating at. So you can see my voice talking, where my fundamental is right here, right? 263 hertz. So if that's my fundamental, I want to make sure that nothing else is competing with it that might be modulating in a tonal relationship, meaning like pitch-wise or key-wise, because as they modulate around that, if it's my kick and my sub, for example, they start causing phasing issues where my kick will no longer be consistent in volume as you go. So I see we got some more people to stream. Welcome, everybody. Hopefully, yeah, if you guys have any questions on mixing, let me know. I'm going to keep walking through this guy, try to get him mixed a little bit better, more modern for today's stuff, because this was a few years ago, actually, that I started this track. I'm already doing quite a bit of compression there using a multiband tool. I feel like it just needs a bit more control. Maybe let's do that on the whole bus. Let's put a low shelf. So you notice the other thing happened is I'm getting a lot of sides information down below 200 hertz. So maybe we should also do a mid-side tweak. So let's do a low cut, and we will put that to mid-side. Right about 200. Oh yeah, that's much better. Just looking for something to add a little bit of a bite to it. And maybe some distortion will help. Oh yeah, that has more kick, more bite. I'm just trying to bring back that the sub sine wave just to kind of give more lift to the bottom end a little bit. And that guitar already sounds lows better. It's cutting through a lot more top end, more bite. It's got more aggressive to it, but now it's just standing out a little too much. So let's go turn that back down. It's going to be a lot of iterative moves because every time you're doing something to modulate the signal, you might have to massage things back in relation to each other. So for me, that guitar is edgy, but now we just need to dial it down a tad. There's definitely going to be a little bit of masking going on there, just because it's so wide. And I apologize about that delay. There we go. Inside. So what I'm just trying to do is clean up some of the bottom end. We can get rid of this guy. So if I listen to that in relation to all of the other bass, very cool. I'm just trying to tame all of that sides information below 200 because what's happening is I start getting intermodulation distortion where they're just kind of canceling each other out. You notice this one definitely had a lot of width when I was playing it without that EQ. And now we lost a little bit of width. That's a little bit of bottom end, but that's okay because I'm only using the upper harmonics layer for it. I could probably even just throw that into both. Yeah, now we're definitely getting somewhere. Just hearing a tighter sub. It's cutting through a little bit better. Cleaning up some of the mud. That's a big help. So what else could be going on during these parts? Let's jump over to this chain up. And I realized that guitar was just droning on with that delay during that hook. It might help if I just sidechain just during that part. And I know because I'm doing 2 layers, the kick that's triggering during the hook, I can probably just sidechain input from there. So let's see. Auxes and returns. Or it might be my guitar lead too, actually. Nope, not there. Just in my effects. So what that means is I'm going to want compassion last in the chain. And then let's go to set the input. Where are you? There he is. So my Freemason kick only comes in during this part. I want to create a send to the H compressor. There we are. But I want even more control. Turn that off, and we will automate this. Very cool. Ouch. Actually, let's delete that one. Make a super simple. I want that to start right when the kick comes in. So you can tell what I'm playing with. Definitely don't have to be that drastic volume change, but So there you have it. Sidechain compression in a nutshell. Just using the kick to duck and then automating so that this compressor will duck only when I want it to. Now that I've set that up, I'm probably going to need to automate a couple other things, because that was just the ending, and I also want that to do that during the first hook or the drop. So let's go up here, back a little bit. We'll do the same there. What's my send level? There we are. Maybe right there. I don't want to do that anymore. There we go. Sorry about that delay. So basically what I'm trying to do is control when the ducking happens on those guitars, or the guitar delay. But yeah, we're getting there. It's just subtle moves, because I've already got a good balance for the basic mix. Let me know what you guys think. Is there anything you feel like I could improve? What do you feel like needs to be changed or stand out more? Hey, what's up, Zach? Thomas? John, hopefully we get a hold of you. I know you're having trouble with the internet. Let me know if you can get into the stream. Puppies. All right. So we're finishing up the last little bit, just walking through everything I've done so far. I definitely cleaned up the sub info a little bit just because I found other tracks that were playing with information down that low, such as these other bass synths. I went and made sure that sub sign was at a decent level, and we look at our syn bass, and I just did a little roll off. So even you can notice the difference between those with that on and off. Lost the sub info. That's okay, we want that, because I have to make room. This thing likes to save. Anyway, the sub sign is my true sub class. So this guy, that track needs its own room. I don't want anything else competing with my sub. And that means if there are other layers on top of stuff that are playing close to that range, I need to clean them up to make sure that I'm just getting the info from those tracks that I want. So when I play this together, let me solo it. I'm going to lose my voice for a second. I don't know if you could tell, but I could tell there's less distortion between the kick and the sub when that sub crash just hits right there at the end of the breakdown. That for me is a big telling story right there. I'm doing my job as a mix engineer to make sure we've got room for everything, everything in its place, and a place for everything. Alrighty. I think that's about it for tonight. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to me on Music Producers Alliance. The other thing that going over, this is obviously my project, but if you guys have questions on how to mix or different mix workflows for your project, reach out to me through Music Producers Alliance. You can go through musicproducersalliance.com. We have all sorts of great stuff for you guys. I am actually one of the mentors for Music Producers Alliance, along with, I believe, 10 others now. We're adding a 10th person. There's a lot of mentors on the group. We do one-on-one coaching sessions. We're available for you guys, and this is what we're here for, to help you guys grow your career in audio. There's a lot of great guys. They all focus on different areas of expertise, whether it's music distribution, DJing, songwriting, music licensing, et cetera, et cetera. You know, there's tons of people on this group. We're all here for you guys. The other thing is, I'm a master engineer. I do a lot of work for Technophonic, and you can ask Adam. We're also running deals for Music Producers Alliance Pro members. So the prices you see here are going to be discounted. Same with the prices for mentoring. Mentoring sessions for members get a discounted rate. So that's a huge thing to take advantage of right now, because what better time to learn how to grow your business and put stuff out at a higher level than what you're putting out right now than to leverage all these resources that we got available for you guys. So there you have it. And again, Music Producers Alliance, the Facebook community, if you're not a part of it yet, definitely go check it out. I'm going to be spending a lot more time in this group, helping you guys out where I can. And if you guys have any other questions, feel free to reach out to any of us on the group. All of us, coaches, mentors, and even Adam himself, and we'll get you guys sorted out. So again, if there are any other questions on this, I can do one-on-one sessions. We can even remote train. You could show me your session open on your end of the computer, and I can walk through signal workflow with you. And I might go into some more advanced details next time. If you guys want to see something specific, let me know in the comments. I'm more than happy to answer it. I can go over things like multi-bus compression, some of my mixing templates that I like to use, that I plan on updating stuff like this with. Obviously, this is an older project, but as I mentioned before, earlier on the stream, think about how you're routing things, the summing of information together. That's what's really going to count. If you're summing things or thinking about the relationship of how they're getting summed together, that's what mixing is. Mixing is the relationship of all those different elements coming together down into just a stereo bus. And mastering will be that final stage of just processing everything to account for tonal balance and achieve that final loudness level that you're after. And that's a careful dance. There's a lot of artistry involved with that too. As a mastering engineer, I can attest to many, many, many masters that I've done. That dance is always going to require a unique attention to detail and just a fresh set of ears. Sometimes we like to master our own tracks, and I can name a lot of, that's nothing wrong with that. But when you have somebody else on your side that's able to point out some, weak spots or improvements in your mix that can help you achieve a better result, that's what we're here for. So until next time, guys, have a good one.